Okay, I think we're coming through there now.
We are, yeah.
Preparing the live stream. Can you see anything, Danielle?
Yep, we're live.
Meeting room. Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, class. Whoopee-doo. Technology, imagine. Bariann, it's always the case. We're always late going into stuff and it's always my fault. So.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not me this time.
Meeting room. There we go.
Yep.
Yay. And so Howard is going to look after the comments and questions, hopefully. There should be a few. There usually is anyway. And welcome to the show, Bariann.
Great to have you.
Yeah, good to have you on.
I had to turn off the YouTube because I think one's like a few seconds behind. So
Oh yeah, that will
there'll
drive
be
you
a bit of a lag.
bananas.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can't listen to it live.
Stick with us on that one, on the one that you're
Yeah.
talking to us now. So you can hear us and all, and she's multitasking, folks, tonight. I won't say what other thing she's doing, but you are multitasking. So fair play to you. And sometimes these things happen. There's clashes.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Much like label life, I think it's just trying to balance everything and not always succeeding, but doing your best.
Yeah. And what's it like in New York today? I mean, it's a pretty significant day, of course, it being September 11th.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a somber day, especially here, so close to the city. There's always ceremonies, streaming, and yeah, I think it's just a very weird day for everyone, especially people like in service families. But yeah, I think weird is the best way to describe it. I mean, a lot of us are so far removed from it, but not all. I think a lot of us remember it pretty vividly. So yeah, just try not to go on Twitter too much because that's where most of the nonsense is happening.
Yeah. And were you in New York that day it happened?
Yes.
Oh
I was
man.
in school. And we were able to see it from the classroom. And it was
wow.
tough because a lot of people had their parents were working in Manhattan. So it was it was difficult being, I guess, waiting to hear. Yeah, but definitely one of, I guess, the clearest memories I still have of middle school.
Yeah, man, that's crazy just to even think about being there in the city when it happened, like fucking hell. Where were you, Howard, when that happened?
I was on a roof. I was working as an apprentice for a carpenter, and it was the week before I went back to college at the time. So I remember a guy shouting out the window from next door saying that the trade center had fallen, and I don't know what the trade center was. So we walked away for a few hours. It wasn't until that evening when I got home we realized the kind of scope of it when it was all over the news. We were kind of blissfully unaware, really, for the first 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
But yeah, it's mad to think how long ago it is.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers what they were doing or where they were.
Yeah.
But I wonder, Bariann, did it have some sort of impact on your musical journey, events like that?
I think being part of the punk scene during that time, there was like a lot of anger, politically charged issues, especially with the Bush administration. So that was, I think that started a lot of that, I guess, early 2000s punk movements that I think there was like Rock Against Bush was a thing. I'm pretty sure that started after 9/11. But yeah, I don't think it affected me musically so much as it affected the community around us and I guess kind of the community building. But yeah, like it affected the punk community significantly. Not so sure about metal since that wasn't something I was part of at that point. But I would be interested to know more about how those folks were feeling because, the political atmosphere is so different with the different genres. Is there anything that you could think of during your lifetime, I guess, that would be comparable? I know that's a really tough question, but I'm not sure like if that is even something that can be compared like across nations.
And we
Danielle?
would have had a little bit of that with the Troubles, I guess,
The
and
Troubles,
the
yeah,
Oma
I was just
bombing.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And you know,
Troubles.
the peace deal in '94 and how that changed everything for everybody on this island. But I do think a lot of that stuff that happened in the '80s and '90s has a deep effect on
think
anybody. It's not so much a scene, it's more of a societal thing, I think. And that
yeah,
bleeds into a scene or a style of music or a place of where you're coming from. I know Joe would have a lot to say on this from Gamma Bomb, having grown up in Northern Ireland. But certainly
Yeah.
down south, things like that impact you quite deeply, and you do carry it forward, I think.
think the impact of the Catholic Church as well has had it. That's had a huge impact on the Irish metal scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs written about the wrongdoings of the Catholic Church and religion. I think it's still casts a nasty shadow across Ireland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. You
It
only
feels
have
like
to
we're
look
coming
at
out the other side of it, just by a lot of revelations and things. I think as most people now will have moved past the authority of the church, I think, in a big way. Certainly in the last 2 generations or so. There's still a remnants of all the horrible things that happened, but I do feel there's a sort of a positive drift in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at one of Bariann's new releases, one of it being Grave Sermon. Little Gurgle.
Oh yeah, it was hard to
Did I say
pronounce
that
it on the
again?
podcast, Richie. All right, you did it once and you did it well. So,
But yeah, that's certainly one Bariann that is all about religion and Catholic Church.
Yeah, I was gonna say we are studying in a program that did a big focus on the laundries, and coming off of that right into releasing that last record that they did. It was just having this huge connection there, and also Lisa Cuthbert had her album that was also about the topic, and just looking at all of the academic writing coming out and the reparations and how that's like such a current topic. I felt like even though this seems like it's so far away, like you said, coming out on the other side, I mean, we're still working toward it, and there's still people who are hurt, who are still hurting, and who, you know, just haven't come to any kind of resolution yet. And I
No.
think that can either make you angry, it can make you sad, it could help you, you know, put some creative stuff out there. But yeah, I think you know, there's a lot going on with that record with like religious subjects, but I think that's the piece of it that I connected to the most, was thinking
Okay.
about the women who went through that, and their children, of course.
Yeah. And how did you come across Grave Sermon, Bariann?
So I think it was through Legion of Wolves, who I
Okay.
knew from years back. Yeah.
Great band.
Yes. And I didn't realize that there are so many different projects connected. And yeah, I mean, it's just like I need like a spreadsheet to keep track of everyone. It's so impressive. It's amazing. And just yeah, and like to keep putting out music consistently for like that length of time is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like so small and so big at the same time.
Yeah. And look, we might as well just get into it then. Fiadh Productions, New York City label. How did you get to this point as such?
That's a good question. I did have a label previously with my ex-husband, who's from Kerry, actually, and he was a really great connection to like finding those up and coming bands in like the early 2010s. And he really had his ear to the ground and kind of like taught me what to look out for. And I mean, I give him so much credit for helping me connect to like that growing scene that was really rich, especially on the West. There is like, and there's now it's like reemerging. I feel like there is a bit of a quiet period. I hope no one gets mad at me for saying that.
Nope.
But now it's like, but now especially, I mean, it's just, it's so cool to see. And, you know, people talk a lot of shit about it, but there's just so much great stuff going on. But yeah, I like saw that, you know, nothing slowed down. So I wanted to come back around and start again and just keep promoting good things.
Yeah. What is it with Kerry people, man? they have their finger on the pulse, and I know there's a few of them watching tonight. Like it's strange. It's a wonderful place down there, but there is no metal scene as such. But the people that live down there know shit tons about heavy metal, and
I think they do a
big
lot
love to
of
'em.
research. They're like very research oriented. I think they just know so much. It's just like mystical knowledge.
Howard, any comments so far? Is there people?
Oh, on YouTube. I thought you were asking me for a comment. Shane J. Horan says live with exclamation mark. Thanks, Shane.
Okay, Shane.
Good evening, everyone from Conjurings from the Hellfire Club. Adrian and the boys. Odds and ends, howdy, folks. Or Raw Heart, howdy, Richie, Danielle et al. Necronesis says it's just everybody saying hello.
Okay, that's
lots of hellos and a few love hearts.
So make sure, those that are watching, throw in a few questions for Bariann. I'm sure she'll deal with them as they come along. So, like, Bariann, I just want to talk about as well, which caught my eye, was the fact that you were working with Earache Records for how long a period was that, and how did you actually get in the door there?
It felt like a long time. I started out as a PR intern, and so there was no PR person, so it wasn't really an intern; it was a full-time job. So I went in there, and they're like, "Yeah, no one's been in this publicist role for like 6 months." There are like 10,000 angry emails from everyone, and they're like, "Yeah, here you go." I mean, it was supposed to be for college credit, but yeah, it wasn't an internship; it was a full-time job, and that just getting thrown in there, learning how to do things on the fly, responding to like publications, figuring out press releases, having to do that from the ground up, and just having no one to help at all. That was how it happened. So it wasn't like really getting my foot in the door. It was kind of like getting tossed in. Yeah. And I like made some great connections that I still have today. Obviously the genre is a bit different, but yeah, that I know they wanted me to stay there. I wanted to stay with Al. Al's the US manager. He's so good, but I needed to get paid. I needed to get like a real full-time job. I would have loved to stay there for longer, but they did end up closing the US office. I don't know if anyone knows that, but all like the physical merchandise is located in the UK. That's where everything ships from. So they did end up closing the US office anyway, which is sad. But I mean, it's like a digital label now, it feels like, but yeah, much different now. And obviously the releases are a lot more varied, but I am very appreciative to everyone who had patience with me back then and kind of just guided me in.
Give us an idea of the scale that they were operating on over in New York, Bariann. Like, was there how many was working there? What size building was it, or a little office space, or what?
It was in Long Island City, so it was like kind of like a warehouse situation. So it was like a shared building, and it was like a shared floor. I want to say there was one big room, and there was like a bunch of shit when you walked in. There was like just crates of CDs, like Entomb, Morbid Angel, all that stuff just like stacked. And then you go in, and then there was like 3 desks. There were like maybe 5 of us there. That's it.
Okay.
And yeah, like very small space, small team, big bar bills, but yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Danielle, that sounds right up your street.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
But isn't it amazing, like the perception you would have had of Earache Records? You would have thought, like, because like they were insanely huge, them, and peaceful at the time. Like, I mean, you were thinking like the ordinary punter would have been imagining they'd have this fucking office space overlooking half of Manhattan, that kind of way, with around 20 people in there, 10 of them bluffers. So. But
maybe in the UK where Digby is, but not where we were, for sure.
Yeah. So you found
there's that story of Iron Monkey in the mid-90s when they played their last gig and Earache refused to pay them or something, so they showed up at the offices in London, broke all the windows,
That's on
Trash the
brand.
place.
I believe I actually never heard that story before, but I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
I'd love to know, did you ever hear anything about it?
No, it's the first time I'm hearing about it.
I remember it was in Kerrang and they had a picture of the studio with the smashed windows and things like that. And just like that, I had in my head some sort of giant record tower place that hundreds of people worked, but it just turned out to be a little shop front, you know?
No, yeah, that would check. But I'm gonna have to ask around about that because now I need to
Dude, I'd
know.
love to hear about that because it
I
all
will get
fascinated
to the
me.
bottom of it.
So like Danielle, I was just gonna just bring you back in again there. Like, your impressions, right, of, we'll say, Earache Records, like I was just repeating there, that's a big office and stuff like that, and just the way they've gone now. Can you think of, we'll say, a kind of a record label that could fit Ireland, that could bring all the bands up like a rising tide? Like, is there an opportunity there for somebody to try that?
I think there should be, or there is. I mean, that's what I like looked to Invictus for, I think,
Okay.
during that time. But I know like that's, he's very focused like on Ireland and promoting stuff there, which is great. I mean, they do tons of tours and everything, but I think like at the time, that's who I was looking at for, pulling up Irish bands, and Destroy with a Y. I mean, that had
Yes.
all like the great press in it. And I think I connected with him recently and super nice. I think we're talking about like reissuing some stuff, which I have to circle back to. I don't trying to think there's anyone else that was like kind of around during that time. And even now, I mean, I like would love to see another like label, like a transatlantic label with like more resources than I have, kind of be able to
Mm.
bridge that gap because I feel like it's missing. And it's like such, I guess, a missed opportunity. And it to the, I guess, the detraction of the bands because they deserve it.
Yeah.
We've got Curse Monk Records doing a great job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And
Yeah.
I'm remiss in not mentioning them, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, they're kind of so specialized though as well. Like, it's
Mm.
they're very good to stick to their
Oh,
brand, I
I
suppose.
forgot Connor too, Apocalyptic Witchcraft. So there's two. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they're quite specialized, I suppose, in the genres that they pick.
Yeah.
You're not
But
going
yeah,
to throw a new metal band into that, like, or
no,
you know.
you're not, you see. So like it's a, what you think yourself, Howard?
I
Is
think
it?
with the likes of Invictus and so on, they're lucky that they have a commodity like Primordial, for example, who have that kind of appeal to a wider audience, and it draws people into the Irish scene a little bit more. I think you really need someone to champion a band to champion a label as much as a label champions a band.
Yeah.
To have a band that's able to make that transition to be good enough, I guess, to take that next step up. But I don't think that there probably isn't a label right now on our side of the country that can do that, and that's no disrespect to them. It's not their fault. It's just I don't know if there's enough quality bands to risk starting a label here in Ireland. As much as there are great bands, I don't know if our scene is appealing to a wider audience, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just the reality. It's kind of the sad reality, really.
Mm. Yeah. It is, I suppose, there's such a fantastic do-it-yourself ethic in Ireland, Bariann. It's always been that way for ages. If a record label isn't going to come in, we'll do it ourselves. That kind of way. And there's such a great community there as well that everybody will roll up the sleeves and help through various means. So I think, that's to our credit as a country that, like, despite having not a major label in there and pulling bands left, right, and center, with helping them, I suppose always we look to the UK with envious eyes, but what we have at the moment, it's very much a DIY situation, but
I mean, it's definitely appreciated and acknowledged. I mean, even like asking family members over, like, can you like check this for me or like contact this person? And like they're so willing to do it, not even knowing the music. Like,
yeah,
be horrified. But yeah, I think just like everyone wanting to help each other and wanting to help their fellows is really special, and you don't see that everywhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think look, the cynic in me looks at some record labels as being a bit gatekeepy, I guess. Pull some bands along and leave the others behind. Not necessarily based on quality or whatnot. We've a great example here. God Alone went to Prosthetic and very deserved. A fantastic band. They'd be one of the few bands here, I think, that have that massive appeal that you could really, really.
Yeah.
You'd love if an Irish label had the confidence to take them on and grow together in symbionts a little bit, and not have to rely on the likes of Prosthetic to come in and make the lads' life easier,
Yeah.
But we've no funding here. We've no arts funding really. We get kind of paid for one-off events, maybe once in a blue moon, but the process to get funding for an album or a tour, it's there, but you're not going to get it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a long, long queue.
Yeah.
Any comments there, Howard, or we'll continue on, or?
Don't think
But
there
I
is.
think, look, a label could work here maybe if the Arts Council funded them and helped them get launched up properly and
He
give them a
needs the
structure to work with.
YouTube, Howard.
Oh,
I'm on the YouTube now. It's okay. Your brain fog. I'll take over. I can
Okay,
take
Danielle.
over. Yeah,
I
no,
had COVID. Okay.
yeah. I can't see any more comments anyway.
Okay, so we'll continue.
Just Kirk Kelly saying we know the story. I think that's in reference to the Kerry men.
Another Kerry.
Yeah.
Along Kirk. So Bariann, what did you learn out of broken limbs? That the initial one. What did you learn and what did you take forward out of it when you started up Fiadh production?
So during that time, I don't think we were as aware of NSBM influences and how insidious that is. And I guess fascism is always a problem, but it wasn't something that was in my, I guess, periphery as it is now. Especially with all of the political things that are happening recently that weren't happening in 2010, 2012. We had stuff go by me that I knew nothing about until like not even that long ago. I mean, we had an anonymous project called Hunter's Ground that was from the guy who started Operation Werewolf, which is like one of the worst. And I had no idea that it was him until 10 years later. And I mean, you don't know, but like we need to do better. So I think that now there's like such a process of vetting bands and doing research and asking questions, which means having really uncomfortable conversations that I never would have had the confidence to have when I was like 20, or whatever it was. I think I definitely wasn't confident enough and I didn't know enough. And for me, that was the biggest learning experience. And also shipping to like get shipping prices right, which is still. But
yeah, I was just going to say that's still happening. I bet you.
And like I'm at war with Germany right now because Germany has sent back all my packages, and I keep telling everyone it's like it feels personal at this point. I don't know what else to do, but yeah,
that's unusual, isn't it? Germany, like
you'd think that they'd be more efficient, but no.
Wow,
yeah,
I'm shocked because that's such a huge scene.
We've got such a great postal service here.
It's shit, Howard. Fuck off with your
post. They're brilliant, man. I love them.
I hate them with a passion.
I've never had a problem with you guys. You're fine. I mean, maybe things take a little bit longer, but with Germany, they're just sending it back, and it just says no, like no information. Like what I do wrong, it's like just a red thing that just says big no. Yes.
9.
My one of my German artists, he was trying to contact them for me, and he was like, I can't even get an answer. So I don't know what to do. I've spent so much money on German post, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, it doesn't affect anyone but me. But I am very, it's a daily struggle. Like
Bariann, I'll give you a great example of how fucked up things are in Ireland, right? I bought an album from The Crawling, who are up in Belfast, okay? So it was sent from Belfast, okay? And it had the Royal Mail stamp on it, okay? But if somebody bothered doing their homework in the Dublin sorting office, they would have seen that it was from Belfast. But no, they saw the Royal Mail and immediately decided it came from England. So then there was, I think they were looking for €10 off me to bring it in to Cork from Dublin. And I was saying, not a fucking chance, man. So then I was saying to Andy, who shout out to Andy of the Crawling, guitarist and singer of the Crawl. So I sent Andy, like, well, how are we going to deal with this? Because I'm not fucking paying the 10 quid they want to take it from Dublin to Cork. So what they did was they sent it back to Belfast.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
We are in the same island, as you know, and this shit was going on, and it's just head wrecking. I hate on post.
I mean, I had this come back. This was sent to someone in North Carolina on July 8th. Came back today. So I mean, it's not just you.
Yeah. But like, you know, we'll go back maybe again, like when you probably worked in Earache Records. I presume you had plenty of access to a shitload of people that were sending in demos as well, or who was fronting that side of things, or were you able to dip in yourself? Oh, you were. Okay, cool.
So no one was looking at any of it. It was all in a corner, like unopened for decades. There's just, so I brought them all home and I still have them.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going through them, but I mean, there's some bad stuff in there, some good stuff, but yeah, no one was checking anything. So I don't know if anyone was doing it before, but certainly not for a long time. So I don't know if other big labels are like that, but which is really sad. I mean, there's some gems in there. There's some like really great actual like photos of people with armor and like the kind of stuff that I live for, just sitting in a corner. But yeah, it was.
So I have to ask then, was there any one of those demos of bands that actually have made it? And no. Okay, so
I mean, I'll have to go back through it, but at the time, no.
Collector's items, would imagine if there was one or two that turned out to be a Macedon or something like that, and you had the original demo. Ooh, that would have been fun.
Well, I'm gonna have to take another look. It's been years. Yeah, I'll have to take another look through those. But at the time, no one had ever heard of like the most, I guess, niche local bands imaginable. But I mean, they all deserve to be heard, most of them. But yeah, that was one of the reasons why I went off, because I was like, there's so much stuff here. So yeah.
But where do you find the time? Like,
yeah,
how do you do it? I mean, like, I get a serious amount of releases into my Gmail, and it's just like I physically don't have the time anymore to sit down and listen to 20 or 30 submissions every day, and that's what it is. And I'm telling you now, straight up, it's just like, it's chaotic. And I mean, this is an Irish metal podcast. Now, I do have UK bands on and other stuff. I just push over to Letty, who does the Smashing Skulls, which is international. But if I don't have enough time in the day to listen to them, simple as that. Hands up, I just don't. But if it's Irish releases, obviously they get the priority, you know. But I'm just wondering, like, you're a mother, you've got a full-time job, you've got, like, what's the magic?
I do my best to listen to everything. I honestly don't have time to listen to all of everything. I try and like prioritize things with more information, people who don't assume that like I'm a guy, which is super annoying. I kind of like get like a vibe if something might fit. If it's like Hale's War Brother, like no, just no. But which is a lot of it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely struggle to find the time to listen to everything. And that is one of the hardest parts, is just making sure that nothing gets missed. But yeah, it's definitely difficult.
I think everybody nowadays has, you don't need to listen to something for so long, I don't think. If it grabs you, it grabs you. There's like, I don't know, 15, 30 seconds of something. Yeah. If you come across it, it just lights a little bit of fire.
But yeah.
You know, you get excited about something, and you don't necessarily have to listen to the rest of it, but you know you're going to go back to it at some point. I tend not to listen to everything that comes in we get here on the podcast because it's just too much. But often it might be a band that I've seen play maybe 6 months previous, or somebody has mentioned to me about them, and from 10 seconds, 15 seconds whether you're going to like it or not, I think.
Yeah, I think 10 seconds is a good length. Usually,
Yeah,
and it
I
sounds
think
short, but it's really not.
Danielle, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Well, I like listening to long stoner
Yeah.
doom songs, so 10 seconds. But
Not
you
a
can
chance.
but you can generally pick up on something fairly fast, like straight away. It's like, oh, this isn't this isn't for me, or you can kind of be like, maybe not. Yeah. But I suppose if your ear is so well adjusted as Bariann's, like you develop that talent, I suppose, of
Yeah.
picking it up quicker, yeah. Actually, Bariann, over the years, has there been any bands that you've kind of looked back on and been like, oh, maybe I should have given a chance, or have you kind of stuck to your decisions and kind of lived with them?
That's a really good question. I think there are bands that, not that I like didn't do anything with, but bands that I wish I had chased down more, like Rights and Bacchus were two Irish bands that I really, really liked a lot. That I think are both not active anymore. You might know more than me. But those are two bands that I was watching with great interest, that I think we might have reached out to do distro for, but like never really confirmed any like releases or anything. But those were two that I really regret not doing releases for, even if they didn't have anything. But yeah.
There's, as you said, there's so many, like trying to keep tabs in them all, and there'll always be one or two that'll just, the timing is even off, or things just don't work out perfectly for everybody.
Yeah. How did you come across Parthólon, Bariann?
They emailed me, which was really nice. I don't know if we had like a mutual connection with Liam.
Was it Suits there? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was, I was anything that he recommends is I'm always gonna check out, and we'll never ignore it. But yeah, was very excited to see it, and I knew that it was something that I wanted to do.
Cool. Yeah, Howard, maybe you could just add a bit of color to that.
Yeah, so Alan would have been he's I guess the business brain. He's the guy who contacts labels and things. I'm more the DMs on social media, so we're out of each other's way in that sense. But I remember him sending me a message to say, had I heard of Fiadh? And it's like, of course I fucking heard of Fiadh,
Yeah.
And I've just been really, really excited. And it was great. And working with Ripcord as well with Charlene, and it's just great to see two women doing so well, and it not being an issue, I guess, a gender issue at all. Just trusting somebody who knows what they're doing, regardless of their background or whatever it might be. But Fiadh, I think, was such a really good fit thematically, and that Irish connection as well. And I don't know, it just felt right. And all the correspondences I've had with Bariann have just been amazing. She's just so on the ball, very quick to get back to you, always present and ready to have a chat. And
I feel like I've been the worst in getting back. I mean, I definitely have struggled recently with like job stuff and everything. So thank you for saying that. Like I try and respond within 24 hours, but as you could hear, sometimes it gets a little crazy. But yeah, the reception has been amazing. Because I always send stuff out to like 120, 130 outlets, and this has like had the most response out of all of them, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's because it's an
It's
absolutely
a
fucking
banger,
amazing
like.
album.
Yeah.
Like, what was your first impressions, Bariann, when you listened to the album?
I was like, this is something that Broken Limbs would have like sunk every single cent we had into, which is, which is a good thing. And I was like, this is the kind of album that like I was really looking for. And I'm so glad that, you guys came to me for it. Just as there's like a very like pretty element to it. And I think combined with the photography aspect was a really nice package together. I thought that was really beautiful. Yeah.
Shout out to Kerry Man Kirk who did the photography.
Kerry Man. Yeah.
There you go. I was trying to remember his name. He did such a good job. So beautiful. Yeah.
It's such a cool color. Absolutely love it.
This is beautiful as well there. Like.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Like, I'll admit I'm very visual with submissions and things that I put out, which it's like not always a good indicator of if something's good or not or will fit, but a lot of the times it is. And like this was like just perfect.
Yeah, it both you're dead right. Both the album cover and the music within it is perfect. Yeah. So and we did a documentary on it as well, Bariann. So if you get the chance to watch it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Saw the press for that. That was really good. I'm definitely going to look forward to. I have to watch that, and I have to watch the new Rings of Power. Those are like my two.
I love the way you combine both of them. So you let's talk about your partnership with another female-run label, Vita de Testables. Is that right? It's Spanish-based. Is that still a thing? Yeah.
So the unfortunate news about that is, sorry, I'm signing into the other thing with my other hand, is that she did have to shut down recently.
Oh no.
Oh.
So yeah, it was, I'm just turning the volume off in here. It was the taxes.
Man.
Taxes, the story of her fucking life, man. Jesus Christ. Where's fucking Robin of Sherwood when you need him? That's all I'll say.
We were playing a gig in the Cruishkin Lawn about 15, 16 years ago, and the taxman showed up. It was the only time it's ever happened. This was about 2009, I guess.
And he announced himself as the taxman.
He came to the door, and Jim was on the door at the time, and he was like, it's tenner to get in. He was like, I'm the taxman because I don't care who you are, it's a tenner to get in. So he paid him a tenner, and he walked in, and there was 4 lads there, watching the band play.
Oh.
So he came back and he just said, look, you can keep the tenner. You're not making any money here. He fucked off with him.
Grand.
That is
There's
fucking
comments
hilarious.
coming there from YouTube from Adrian. He wants to know, Bariann, will you be working with Sacred News on the next release? And he also wants to thank you for all your emails.
Oh, so sweet. I mean, I'm equally thankful for the major contributions to our scene, your scene, our scene. But yeah, Sacred News is so good. That was such a great find. So that was Chris from Worship the Void up in Belfast who recommended them. I know he wanted to do the release, but he wasn't able to.
Okay.
So I was more than happy to do that tape. And then I was contacted by another label who I'm friends with, Rob from Breath, Bones, Sunblood. I probably said it wrong, but yeah, so that's a newer label from Germany that focuses on more of like the atmospheric nature worship kind of occult black metal. And he loves it. We both saw the new art last week. We're both really excited. So we'll be working on that together.
Nice. That's good to hear. Sacred News. Yeah. They played down in Cork. I think Evan had them on a bill in Fred's. I was working on the night, so I couldn't go in, but yeah, they're an exciting band, man.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
it's
him
very different. And I mean, just like very gritty. I really like it.
Yeah, that's actually, but like we just got distracted there about the Spanish label. That's a shame that's gone. Yeah, and you kind of shared kind of a mutual kind of connection with what you stand for outside of even metal, correct?
Yes, we're both anti-fascist labels, which I mean, wish could say it was more common to have kind of that label in the forefront. But it was important for both of us that that's how we're described. Yeah, I mean, I'm still really sad about it. It's just, I think Spain, they actually charge you to sell I don't know how common that is in other European countries. I hadn't heard of it before, but they charge her per month to be a merchant. And it was just like so unreasonable. As you know, and she had her own job, and when I was shipping her stuff, I mean the taxes on that were insane. I mean, I sent something to Austria last week, and my artist had to pay 127 euro just to get the package that I marked as a gift. So I mean, you can't win. Not Germany, but still.
Yeah, it's a major problem, especially with Brexit happening as well. Like, Howard, had you any problems there? Even, we'll say, people coming into your Bandcamp page, we'll say from, and I'm sure it was busy, man, especially in Europe and hopefully further afield. How do you deal with stuff like that?
Well, we're lucky that, so we have Fiadh in the US, and we have Charlene from Ripcord in Scotland, and we have Basti from Moment to Collapse in Germany. So we're kind of covered in all different places, but obviously we're getting orders through our own Bandcamp page as well. So it's been tough. Alan's done a great job. He's been keeping on top of the shipping. And he's struggling with it. Like, it's a lot of work. It really is. You know, he's trying to just keep on top of the first couple of weeks when everything's coming in so quickly. We've come across maybe half a dozen issues with sending stuff to the UK for sure, but everywhere else has been so far fine as far as I'm aware. But yeah, Brexit has really dropped a whole lot of a lot of stuff. You know, even going on tour there now isn't really a viable thing to do. And for people to come over here
at this stage,
yeah, it feels that way. There's just it feels like the arse is falling out of the scene a little bit in some of the places in England. You've got great bands, but you don't have the structure there that you had 6 years ago, you know?
Do you think Scotland is actually a bit stronger in that way?
It seems to have, like the likes of Edinburgh and Glasgow really seem to have taken over.
I'd love to see you do a mini tour over there.
I'm speaking from across the water, so I'm not 100% sure, but, you know, I'm just going on conversations I've had and what people are thinking out loud. But yeah, it seems like a difficult place to go, risky in the sense that you're not going to get paid and there might not be people at the gig, you know?
Yeah. Where's this, UK or as in
UK?
Yeah.
I think Scotland's a bit more of a viable option for people.
I think so. Yeah, I'd love to see you play Scotland, and it is viable. I mean, like, okay, Dog Tired are back over again for the Siege. Like, we've got a lot of connections
coming as well soon.
Yeah, we've got a lot of connections there, man. I mean, surely beat the fuck Howard is worth giving one of those lads.
Always working behind the scenes, Richie.
Yeah, good. That's good to hear, man. Because, you know, if it's a Scotland date, like, you get Edinburgh, you get Glasgow for sure.
You would. There are longer stretches in terms of driving and all that, but, you know, before you could do London, Brighton, Bristol, Nottingham, Birmingham. It's a nice little sweep of a few towns close together.
Yeah,
it's not really, I don't know, doesn't feel viable. Too big a risk.
Yeah, actually, now that we're on about touring, Danielle fucking hitting the nail on the head with fucking 5 Will Die for Siege. How about that?
That was so exciting to see. Like, as an American, I was like, yes, even though, you know, I can't into it, but I was very pleased to see it.
Yeah. I really felt like an absolute detective that I pieced that together. I told Pete, like, I was like, I think I'm after guessing the Siege, who's playing the Siege, and he was like, how? I told him the story. He was like, if you get that, if that's right, and you've worked that out from the lore, like on the Irish lore. Yeah, that was
we
fun.
will see him. We will see him. That is so fucking exciting. And
this is gonna be one. That's it.
Yeah, I know it's going to be one, but like, the fact is that it just is fucking exciting for a lot of us that are old enough to have seen you maybe the once or twice. I think I saw you twice in all, but like, I would say that's fucking main stage. A bit like Roper, I would imagine that your main stage.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. You know yourself, you don't get told the
no, I know that
the week of, you know.
But traditionally, there's always a Cork band ending the night, correct?
Yeah.
The
Cork slot.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Like, the first Siege I went to, I didn't really know what to expect or what was going on. But I remember texting my dad, and I never text my dad. I text my dad saying, I think I found my new favorite band, and it was Five Will Die. And then I was like, I think I found my new favorite drummer, and it was Ben Wanders from Sharborn. My first time seeing them. But the first bit of Irish merchandise I ever bought was the Five Will Die CD. I still have it at home somewhere. Yeah.
Nice.
I think I might have that too, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I actually told Pete about that because that was like one of the bands that he was really after. And I'm pretty sure like we reached out, which is why I was like,
we were in touch for a bit from what I remember. It's going back 10, 11, 12 years now at this point, but I do remember. But I think at that time
Bariann.
we were starting to wind down, I think, and taking on anything like that would have been, it would have been poor judgment on our part because we couldn't live up to what would be expected, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, am I correct in saying that all the members were at the Parthólon gig in nude that time when I saw you?
Yeah. All the five, it was weird taking the gear off stage and things like that because we were all helping each other, and you get these flashbacks to tours and gigs and times and places.
Yeah.
But the lads are extremely excited. I mean, John asked after the Parthólon show, and I was, broken after playing the gig, so I didn't really take in what he was asking. But
this is Last Siege.
Yeah, Last Siege.
Okay.
So I kind of thought on it for a bit, and I said I'd ask the lads and see what they say. And a couple of the lads who haven't been in bands since really excited about it, So there was a bit of enthusiasm coming from there, and we've done a couple of jams and fucking class. We were really, really happy with it. It was like, just getting back in the deep end a little bit. First round of the songs we could have played a gig,
Yeah. But now, Bariann, have you been to Ireland much?
Yes, I just haven't been back recently. I need to do a bit of research, and I am trying to get the school to see if they'll fund my next trip. Plane tickets are a bit expensive. Plus, we've been, talking about traveling with 2 small children, especially, overseas. We did like a short trip that was like 2 hours, and that was rough. So we just don't think that we're ready for the full like 6-7 hours. But yeah, I'm hoping to sort something out hopefully by next year, because there's just so much going on. There's so many people I need to see and things that have to be done. But yeah, I mean, I used to go pretty regularly, but it has been a bit, maybe like 4 years.
Wow. Okay. That's yeah. Okay. So that was that just after COVID or before COVID?
Oh, it was before. My sense of time is very off, so it might be even before that.
Okay. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So you have to time it to get in a siege, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, sorry. Whenever someone says Sean, I just assume it's Sean O'Brien. But yeah, he wanted to coordinate with some merch and like getting some stuff sold. And I was like, you could always do it if you want. Just feel free. But don't want him to do all the heavy lifting. Like literally and figuratively.
Now we need to talk about also your fantastic work with animals and charity work in relation to that. How did it start? Was it just a simple thing, or where did what inspired it?
My full-time job is with animal rights, and before that, animal welfare. So that's always been my day job. So it was kind of like a natural thing. I met my husband. We both worked at the same animal shelter. So it's like a big part of, every part of our daily life. And we have tons of dogs. And just seeing Nia's work with Hearthstone, and then I saw that I forgot which band was supporting her. It might have been Connor did a compilation for, I think it was him that did the compilation. I noticed it and I was like, this is such a great initiative, especially in Ireland, focusing on farmed animals, especially, which is something that I don't see a lot of support for. It's just not really part of any country's culture, but it's not something, I mean, it's it's something that I think we need more of what she's doing. So
Correct.
I'm happy to support, and I'm glad that she did find new property. That was a big problem. So I think, forgot where she is now. She's in Meath, but the animals are in a better place now. You know, keeping them fed, the compilation really helped get, you know, everyone situated, and the
That's
bands,
brilliant.
on their own initiative started donating themselves outside of Fiadh. So that was really cool to see. And then the feed place actually ended up matching donation and giving them some extra stuff. So it was really nice.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's such a great cause. I mean, you know, I think in Ireland in general, we're very charitable. We get behind initiatives if they're done correctly, and I think that's the biggest problem in this country. You know, we have a lot of cowboys and not enough Indians. Be the best way to fucking describe it. You know, and as a cat owner of 2 cats, you also wrote a lovely intro to Metal Cats. So give that a plug.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. That was one of the first, I guess, the early PR projects that I did independently. That was a really, really fun initiative. And I'm trying to remember who it was. I think Cattle Decapitation, one of their wives contacted to do a version with dogs. And I mentioned, I don't know what happened, but I got to follow up on that because that was such a cool thing. But yeah, I would love to see like another rendition of that. But now there's like a coloring book for it and everything. So that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah, we just need somebody to grab the bull by the horns over in Ireland and kind of come up with something different. Like what could we go down, Howard? What rabbit hole could we descend?
We've got
My
the
mom,
dog action welfare group and so on, you know. And,
Yeah.
I think a lot of farmers in Ireland have this sort of mentality of dealing with things internally. You know, they're always aware of animal neglect from a neighboring farmer or whatnot.
Yes.
They tend to not involve the authorities or have a real vigorous process that will result in a prosecution of any sort. So they tend to try to take care of these things themselves to their detriment, I think.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we have
right.
nothing out there for them to gravitate towards to do things right, you know.
Mm. And a lot of it is just fucking ignorance as well, to be fair.
A lot of it is real ignorance and just,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's an element of psychoticness in it, or there's an element of a sociopath in some people, I think, that you just, I don't know. Makes me sad.
I think that it's like a very old school mindset that you find. It's like not even just cultural, it's generational. And I think
so, yeah.
like
Very much so. Yeah.
giving animals as means to an end or pieces of farm equipment, it's not you know, it's not just Ireland, it's everywhere. But yeah, it's definitely endemic, but there are a lot of new initiatives that are helping. They're just very small, and it's hard to get kind of get in there when there's not really government support. There is a little bit, but you know, there's not a lot of support coming from municipalities, which is really tough to change because that's, you know, that's a process and that's getting deep into the system. And, you know, someone has to work on that full time.
Yeah. I had a surreal experience yesterday. So I was in this, okay, so it's Waterford Castle. That's what it's called. And it's on an island, okay? So you have to get a ferry across, and we were golfing. I don't normally play golf, but it was just with 3 of my friends. They hooked me into it, and I said, yeah, let's do it. So it was the second day of our golf extravaganza, to put it mildly. It was more drink than golf. But anyway, so we got to the second place, which was on an island. So I parked my car, right? And I got out of the car. And next minute, there's a white kangaroo bouncing along in front of me.
What?
Oh,
If I hadn't been to Ireland and like seen wallabies, and like I would have.
It might be. Is it a wallaby?
I
Wallaby, yeah.
It might have been a wallaby then. Whatever the fuck it was, just white.
What?
And it bounced along and looked at me, and I immediately looked around to see if there was other people in the car park that witnessed this, and there was fucking nobody. So I was just going, fuck, where's my phone? So I just ran over to the car, got my phone out and filmed them bouncing along. It was surreal. On an island in
Send that on
Waterford.
immediately. I need to see that.
Probably just like a rabbit on steroids or something.
Well, considering the copious amount of alcohol I had the previous night, I had to do a double take and just go, am I hallucinating here or what? Like, but sure enough, it was. So it was a wallaby. Okay, thank you. Excuse my ignorance.
Fantastic.
Any comments, Danielle?
Yeah, odds and ends just said photo are still looking for that fella, I'd say.
He's travelled a fair bit.
Yeah.
Anything else? No.
So Miss Yeah Big Man, I'm starting to wonder, does the economics of touring the Low Countries / Germany make more sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
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 It's such a huge scene, Germany. Like, I mean, but I don't know. It's there's an element of risk there. I'm sure, Howard, you wouldn't travel unless you'd like various connections to link the
Not
way,
anymore. I think the days of prospecting are gone, you know.
Exactly.
I'm kind of too old for that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. But no, I think Germany has that structure though. I think they've got a good funding scheme with the arts councils and whatnot. And they seem to survive that a little bit longer. Maybe there's a different kind of demographic, I don't know, but Germany has always seemed like a safe bet if you can get there. But getting there, I guess, is
It's the big thing,
challenge.
isn't it?
You know, and driving, cost of petrol. You know.
Bariann, before we finish up there, who are the crucial components that you need in running a label like yourselves, like Fiadh? I know you're doing it a lot yourself, but I mean, there has to be flesh to the spine as well.
I mean, the local postman is a pillar of the label.
I love this.
My husband, who does run, like when things, you can schedule a pickup, but when things get overwhelming, like when I'm like, oh, the postman is not gonna do this today, then he's kind enough to drive things over. My mom is the second pillar for allowing me to take up the entire basement with all my stuff, even though she always wants me to move it. I mean, I have to say, like, I do a lot of complaining about packing vinyl, as I'm sure some of you know, it's like hell on earth. I hate it. It's like, it's so physical. And then I don't know if you watch the weekly wrap-up videos that my friend Jeff does from Weldon Woe. He's really a great guy, and he loves Fiadh, and he is like very good with creating content. So he makes like these really fun videos for me, and he helps out with some of the creative stuff, and he like rates castles, and he's a big help as well. So shout out to Jeff, and to my husband Eric and my mom, who I think, you know, make it all possible.
I can see those. I can see your kids getting involved at some stage. I know they will.
I mean, they already are involved, just not in the ways that I want. They love taking the cassettes out of the case and then like throwing them behind the couch like peanuts, like shelling peanuts. Which, so it's like I have to like find the different pieces. Yeah, I try. I mean, my daughter's name is Fiadh, but the label actually came first. If my son was a girl, he was going to be Fiadh, but so she's going to grow up and be like, oh, like this label was named after me, and I'll be like, sure, and I'll have to stick to the story. So
Brilliant.
I
love
appreciate
it.
your cooperation.
And the actual design and logo, who came up with that?
I worked with Joan Lopez Dominic. I hope I'm saying that right. He's on Instagram. He's a great Spanish artist who does work for a lot of really cool bands. And I just messaged him and I was like, hey, like I really like all the plant stuff that you do. Can we work together? And I like told him I'm like my really, really, really vague ideas. I'm like, I want like a tree.
Yeah.
Please help. and he like made it a thing. And then Astral Gaze, he doesn't do lettering, so Astral Gaze did the logo, and then we kind of like slapped them together. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. So 5 years time, where will you be?
Oh, God. That's a great question. Hopefully in Eric's office, but we'll see. No. I would love to be able to help bands tour. I would love to have that capacity. That's like a huge thing that a lot of like the bigger bands want help with. That's something that I want to help with. I mean, you can know as many people as you want, but if you're not contracting a promoter or a booker, you can only do so much. And bands can do it themselves, but it's not easy, and it's a lot of work to do that. And to be able to offer that, have like a partnership like that, I think would just bring it to the next level.
It'd be huge for Irish bands, like yeah.
Well, that's who I get a lot of inquiries from, and vice versa, bands who want to go to Ireland, which is the thing. A lot of people want to go to Scotland too, and they're like, "Oh, can we like do all of it?" And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, can you? But yeah, and I think having a European office or like someone in Ireland who will ship everything, because I feel so bad. The shipping that I charge the least amount that I can, and it's still like horrific how much it costs to ship like one record. It's like $20 for one. So to be able to mitigate that, and like that's like the lowest that it goes without insurance, to mitigate those costs, to make it more affordable to everyone. Those are I think the two things that I hope to see resolved.
Well, Howard, can you?
I suppose
there's an element there of me going, Howard and Alan could do something there.
Yeah, and we've had real genuine discussions about that in the last 6 months or so. And look, never say never. I think when Alan's kids get a bit older, maybe that might be something that we could do,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I hear what Bariann is saying there, and I think I was waiting for someone to do it.
He needs to put an old coin into the old Wi-Fi box, Bariann. It happens, every now and then.
Called a passage Wi-Fi.
But go on, yeah.
They built a reception tower outside my door, and I still can't get internet. Like, there's an internet tower 20 yards away, and I still can't get internet.
I told you what to do. Climb up it and fucking throw an old wire over it and drag it down.
I suppose before we break up again, I want to ask Bariann, what can people do to help you thrive for the next 5 years? What can people listening and watching now do to help you keep going?
I mean, I always want to encourage people to support the bands directly, because I mean that's so important to keep the bands afloat in their own way. I think just like sharing everything, especially on like social media, Instagram, to get more eyes on it. If we can just get like some bigger partners to help out, and then to make the music more accessible worldwide, I think that's the most important. Just word of mouth. Doing nice things for animals. Not label related, but that would make me really happy. Just keep talking about the label, keep talking about, what we can do to fight against the fascism that is just so rife in our scene. And that is growing every day, everywhere. To just keep speaking out against it and questioning it when you see it, and not giving people a pass for, even something that seems like it's a gray area. Call them out. We have to do that to keep it going.
Yeah. Danielle, anything else there to?
No, I don't think so. I'm just hope you can't hear my dog snore. Thought you'd appreciate that. We have an interruption from my dog snoring.
Kids screaming in the background and dogs barking. Thank you for putting up with that.
Yeah. No, I just Bariann, just like to say, like, absolutely love your values. I think it's absolutely like class to see. And yeah, just everybody at home, go out and support it. And yeah, as you said as well, Richie, hopefully we could see some Irish bands coming up now, and jumping on maybe another label as well.
Yeah.
Kind of doing it together. So yeah, thanks Bariann for all your hard work.
Yeah,
Yes.
anything I can do to help your scene on your side, I'm always willing to do it, because it deserves to be supported and in the forefront just as much as Norway, UK. I mean, it belongs right up there.
Yeah. Look, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and great to meet you as well. And you know, you're doing fantastic work, and you know, I'm glad there's some bit of a support system behind you, because what you know, I can't imagine how busy your day is every day. You're fighting the right fight, Bariann, and from all of us over here in Ireland, pleasure to have you on, and long may you run.
Thank you, and thank you for everything you do, and always here to support all of your work. So likewise, and thanks again.
Cheers.
Thanks,
And
Bariann.
yeah, thanks Howard, and thanks Danielle for joining me, and thanks for everybody else for the comments.